it's a sad moment here at Famidaily, because this is the final Natsume Famicom game. Okay, not really. This is the final game that they published. And in 1991, Natsume was still willing to work as a dev for hire, so they still have 7 more Famicom games to go. But Chaos World is the last one that they put their name on. And it's one of 2 games that can compete for the title of Rarest Famicom RPG. You don't find many copies around, and when they do come up, they go for a pretty penny. Chaos World is another member of the 10,000 yen club. Games where a cartridge-only copy will cost you at least 10,000 yen. The plot of Chaos World is your basic RPG storyline. There's a prophecy of the imminent return of evil to the world, monsters showing up everywhere, and a princess has fallen terribly ill. The king calls for heroes and you answer the summons. When you start a game of Chaos World, you're first given your choice of 7 classes: Fighter, Knight, Thief, Mage, Priest, Shaman, and Bishop. And then you choose if you want to be male or female. These decisions are actually pretty significant in Chaos World, because the world holds 16 heroes, and you are taking over the role of one of those. So if you take the Knight, then the Knight won't be available any longer. The game also has a quest system that unlocks a few hours into it, where you can pick up special missions from adventurers guilds. And a lot of these are locked behind being male or female. Unfortunately, not in a good way. A masculine job is to help clear the forest, while the feminine jobs are be a waitress or be a nurse. The combat system in Chaos World is interesting. Naturally, you have random encounters as you're wandering around outside of town, and when combat begins, you're given the option to fight, run away, or change your tactics. And that is the sum total of input you get to make for combat. All battles play out automatically. There's a handful of orders that you give from the tactics menu, but then they only use that one tactic throughout battle. You can order them to conserve magic power, to defend, or to go for an all-out attack. If you have healing items that can be used in combat, they're automatically used. Though one nice thing in Chaos World is that those items are dirt cheap. It only takes 1 or 2 fights, even at the early stages of the game, to make enough money to buy a healing herb. As you progress, you'll find other heroes wandering the world, and can recruit them to join your party. And once you have access to the Adventurers Guild, you can build your ideal party there. Naturally, towns have things like equipment shops, and that includes spells which have to be purchased and equipped independently. The other type of shops you'll find in town are the inns, and they charge you a rate per character. So if it's 6 gold for 1 character to spend the night, then it's 12 gold for 2. Inns are how you save your game, and that's done automatically. There are 3 battery save slots in Chaos World, and to my annoyance, once you complete the game, it locks out that slot. You can't just load up that save and do the ending again. Chaos World has a day-night cycle, and if you visit towns at night, you'll find that things have changed quite a bit. The shops are all closed, and most people are hanging out at the pub. And as per standard fantasy game rules, there are plenty of quests that start out at the pub. In the hour that I had to play the game, I started out with the wizard, and spent quite a while grinding up levels and cash before I felt strong enough to go to the second town. There I met the knight who acted as my second party member, and we were on our way to find the cure for the princess, but the dungeon itself was so difficult that I really needed to grind up better equipment and levels for a while. I could reach the cure, but I couldn't make it back alive without a lot more preparation. The grind in Chaos World isn't the worst I've ever seen, but it is pretty heavy. And unfortunately, the streamlined combat system means you really don't have a lot of interaction. If it wasn't for the fact that you run into walls, you really could just tape down the controller and walk away for a while. Chaos World is pretty well regarded by Famicom fans in Japan, though it wasn't a big hit at the time of release. My own view is that it's an interesting game for making an RPG that cuts a lot of the cruft, but my limited playtime didn't really let me get into the things that make the game really interesting. From what I've read, things really open up after you heal the princess, which is the first major quest. And that is a pretty long process. Chaos World is an interesting RPG, though it doesn't give me a whole lot to talk about because the game is so simple. I think I'm going to have to revisit this one at some point and give it a little bit more time.